to use this air table, you can see we have a series of switches. We also have this air hose that comes from a regulator that comes from an air source across the room. So we're just going to go over how to operate this air table, how to inflate it, and why you might want to use it. So in our lab, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn on the air. All you're going to do is you're going to open this valve. You don't have to worry too much about how open it is because we're going to use the regulator back on the machine. When you come back here, you're going to turn this knob so that way it increases the pressure, which is clockwise, looking down on it, and you're going to increase the pressure until we get to about 50. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to look at this series of switches here. These switches, rather than on and off, think of them as open and close. So what you're actually going to run into here is that these are now open, which is on. So when you hit this green button, air will go into the bags. So as I hold this button in, you can see that the table starts to rise up as the bags inflate. Now the back goes up. The back always goes up last. It's a little bit of a bigger bag. And now after you've done that, what you're going to do is you're going to close all of these, which closes the valves. And then you can turn the air off. I just turn it down at the regulator and then turn it back off at the valve. So now that we're inflated, we can just turn this air off. And now what we have is a fully supported microscope that rests on this air table to reduce vibrations. So now you have these essentially airbags under the microscope that keep those vibrations in the table from transferring to the camera and to the microscope. When you're trying to take high mag images, really you only need to use this on this system if you're running at the 100x optical objective lens, excuse me. And even then it works pretty well without the air inflated because the table is so heavy, it actually reduces some of the vibrations. So in most cases, you probably won't even need to use the airbag table. The air table is just for those cases where maybe there's construction happening across the hall, or maybe you're just having a bunch of problems trying to get the image quite right, but your sample seems okay. So this is kind of one of those things that you can work with to try to improve your imaging quality, even though most of the time you won't have to use it. When you're done taking your images on the airbag, all you have to do to release the air from the airbags, because we don't want to keep the air in there, kind of is hard on the table. So all we want to do is you just open all these valves up and you hold the green button again, and all that's going to do is lower the table. It just lets all the air out of the bags. So now as the air comes out, the table is going to start going back down, just like it was before we started.